Welcome back. You're with Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vedant Agarwal. Well, yet another year and our right to breathe has been violated. 10 years of Delhi's killer pollution and no lessons have been learned. Well, as we speak, Delhi's air quality has slipped into the poor category and even the very poor category in some parts of the capital region. The capital is choking, but netas continue to shamefully bicker. Where does the buck stop? And NDTV is focusing on this issue not just this year. We've put the focus on Delhi's killer year for the past decade. The micropollutant and its concentration has reached to levels that are almost 8 to 10 times the safe limit set by the World Health Organization. Breathing capital air right now is almost like smoking 6 to 8 cigarettes a day. And breath by breath, it is killing you. And last-minute pollution efforts have only failed the national capital. Delhi's apocalypse is back yet again, and our right to breathe is yet again up in the air. Let me introduce our panel this evening. Bhavreen Kandhari, environmentalist and perhaps one of the most articulate voices on air pollution, is with us. Also with me, Sharanjeet Kaur, Program Officer, CSC. Her expertise is in the areas of climate change and air pollution, urban heat. Also Sunil Daya, founder and lead analyst in Enviroanalytics. Also with me, Bhavesh Sharma, Senior Program Manager, WRI India. Thanks all very much for being with us. Bhavreen, let me go across to you first. We've been discussing this for years now, but these last-ditch efforts bear no fruit. I mean, we cannot emphasize it enough as to how much we need round-the-year attention as far as air pollution is concerned, and not just, last-minute knee-jerk emergency measures.
Absolutely, Vedant, and thank you for continuing to speak about this. It needs to be loud and clear. Yes, we definitely need a broad, long-term plan, and not ad hocism, which is quite evident and clear. Every time we come to these months, and then you start seeing these gadgets show up like smoke guns and water sprinkling, etc., which is also all to do with construction dust, and that I've been repeating is PM10 and not PM 2.5, which is right now the issue. So, solving this issue is, purely it requires the government to actually rethink the approach now. Not in terms of, air pollution is too wide, but there is so much, that needs to be done. Like you said, throughout the year, the approach has to be segregated in areas like, whether it's clean energy or it's waste management, it's agricultural policy, or it's urban mobility policies. I mean, you cannot be cutting 5 trees an hour. You cannot be, 99% of the infrastructure that's being made, construction, etc., or on the roads, etc., in Delhi NCR is for the 8% people who own cars. So, those kind of decisions, there is no emission tax, there's no congestion tax, there is no, low emission zones. So far, I mean, you're saying a decade, it's probably more than a decade.
More than a decade,
we have the brains, the people. We had the CAQM Act, which grants the necessary powers, but we've seen it's not being utilized.
Yes. And I think the point you made earlier, Bhavreen, about PM 2.5 and PM 10, that's extremely important as well, because PM 2.5 is this cancer-causing micropollutant. That's a real problem. In fact, if you can have that graphic up on how all the pollution solutions have failed and money has gone down the drain, because that is really the focus right now. Whether you look at smog guns or smog towers, which don't solve the problem. They do not reduce emissions. They do not target pollution at the source level. In fact, look at that graphic. Whether it's smog towers, anti-smog guns, biodecomposers, these are all solutions that will not solve the problem. These are just fantastical measures that come up, at the last moment. Bhavesh Sharma, would you agree with that? And is there a complete lack of understanding when it comes to what will really solve or clean up the air as far as Delhi is concerned?
Thanks, Vedant. Thanks for having me here. I would say that, some of the measures that have been taken, like smog towers, they are, they are not at all effective. There have been reports, studies by IIT Bombay, or, DPCC also submitted one report to NGT, wherein smog towers were said to be ineffective beyond a certain limit. So certainly we need to focus on more long-term strategies where, we work directly at the sources rather towards the knee-jerk reactions. Because, like Bhavrin also mentioned, that, we have waste burning happening across the city. And Delhi it's a unique place wherein, the air shed level approach needs to be taken, because
Precisely.
the air pollution is not only affected by the local sources, but it is also, it comes from outside of Delhi, especially the NCR region, or even the whole Indo-Gangetic plain is plagued by air pollution. So certainly the measures that needs to be taken are to be, long-term and effective at source contribution.
I think that's a critical point there, targeting pollution at the source level, which is what experts have been emphasizing time and again, but our government just doesn't seem to understand. Sunil Dahiya, come in on this point. The point that Bhavrin was making earlier, CAQM has the power to punish violators. That's something that the Supreme Court has also talked about time and again, but we just don't see that happening. Now is the time when this thing has to become almost a people's movement, and which is what Bhavrin and her team has been doing as well. But we need to sort of all come together and demand solutions round the year. And as somebody, who analyzes data as far as pollution is concerned, why does it not convert to policy level solutions as far as pollution is concerned?
Thanks, Vedant, and I would agree with both Bhavya and Bhavrin in terms of saying that one, we need to take emission load reduction approach at the source, and second, we need to take those actions in the larger areas. And that's where the answer to the question you asked, it lies in these two things, that it is not that we don't have policies in place. There are policies in place.
Yes.
It is where it stops is the political will of the administrators as well as the political leaders in terms of really curbing those pollution. Now, we all know that stubble burning has just started. It will go on for next 3 weeks, and all of us, all the politicians and everybody will try to capture the narrative and only feed the narrative that it is the stubble burning. But if you look at Delhi or last few days, it is not, stubble burning, it hasn't peaked yet. The wind is not coming from Haryana and Punjab direction. It's coming from UP.
Yes.
And that's where the point which Bhavya made, that we need to look at the larger air shed. We need to reduce pollution at source, and this is where we are missing all our policies till now, be it the Clean Air Action Plan at the city level or the National Clean Air Action Plan. None of it talks about emission load reduction across any of those sectors which are contributing or at the geographical level. What we have right now,
which is why even measures like artificial rain will not work, because
they will never work.
Reduce
any band-aid solution which just tries to suck the pollution from air or try to suppress it with the water will not work. The moment it will only work if you keep continuing it for the entire winter, and that's not going to be possible.
Precisely.
The moment you stop it, the new air parcel with the same pollution load from the larger geographies as well as the local pollution will ensure that we reach those hazardous levels again.
Yes, and that point you made about political will, I think that's an important one as well, because it was nothing short of shameful. And let me say this on record, nothing short of shameful what we saw yesterday when the Environment Minister of the National Capital was talking about, sort of blaming it on the BJP. The BJP was blaming it on, it was Manoj Tiwari, if I remember correctly, who was blaming it on the Aam Aadmi Party. I mean, it's shameful, this kind of political bickering, because it's about the life of our kids. And Bhavrin, there have been so many reports which talk about how air pollution is linked to antibiotic resistance, air pollution is related to cancer. It's really killing us, and that's how grave the situation is. So do you see this as an activist? Do you see the lack of political will?
Absolutely, Vedant. I mean, what you said is so correct. And I don't know why even politicians like this, who have the least amount of knowledge, are being allowed to speak about this. Yes. Why are they not experts and the people who have professional skills, technical skills to come and discuss this? Isn't it too much time has gone by? We've seen failures in forms of every year, and like you said, smog towers. 1 year the headline was decomposers, another year the headline is cloud seeding. So it's not only about that there is a kind of a PR or a headline, thing going on, that they're trying to portray something. We are losing on time. Our children are breathing that toxicity, that poison, and the citizens are suffering. And we are the ones that we're going to live 12 years shorter, which has been a recent study by QLI. So Is that acceptable? I mean, I'm sure the politicians, this is the capital of the country, and where our honorable Prime Minister lives, and all these politicians are here. So this should not be acceptable.
Absolutely.
All this time that's being wasted, all the public money that's going down the drain, and our children's lungs. I think everything is at stake, and
yes, and that's perhaps how urgent the issue is. And Bhavesh Sharma coming on this.
Crisis.
Yes, it's a crisis, a medical emergency, as many have pointed out. Bhavesh Sharma, the point Bhavleen made about stakeholders, that's an important one as well, because the Supreme Court has said that CAQM has almost become like the sort of a place for retired bureaucrats to sort of come and not do anything. But we don't have stakeholders and real experts on this panel, and that's so important.
See, there have been a couple of reports in past also which mentioned that, clearly mentions that what are the sources of air pollution that are coming to Delhi, whether it's local or, from outside. So certainly we have some knowledge of sources, I would say. Then it's another matter is, one is meteorology. Certainly at this time, winter sets in, and then suddenly there's a sudden drop in temperature, and for last 1 week we have less wind movement also, which actually contributed the stagnation or less dispersions of sources of air pollution also. So certainly we need to take actions that are not just remedial in nature, but have an impact on ground, because we have been seeing this trend that whenever the air pollution rises, then suddenly it's in the news. But during summertime or in March, when the weather is pretty nice, when you don't have the temperature low, no one talks about it. Very few people. So the action needs to be taken all around the year. It's not just one time measure that we take.
Absolutely. And Sunil Daya, the last word to you. The government has not woken up from its apathy, its slumber, and it hasn't in the past 10 years or more. What can we do as people, as right-thinking citizens, perhaps, to save ourselves, save our children from the killer air?
Vedant, it is the people who will have to take action, and when I say the action has to be at both level. One, asking the governments the tough questions all around the year and asking them to act. It's been more than 2 decades right now. The other thing which we as people can also do is there is so much of public money which has been spent on multiple programs under in the name of cleaning air pollution. And all that money has either created a lot of data centers, databases, or some kind of tools such as decision support system, early air pollution forecasting, and all those things. The CPCB has all the data, all the point sources. They know where the wind is coming from. They know who's polluting how much, and CAQM has access to all that data.
Absolutely.
CAQM has access to
and I think the point you made earlier is so important, that people have to come together and ask the government tough questions.
Ask this question of where is this money going? What are you doing with all these tools and all this data?
And where does the buck stop? Where does the buck really stop when it comes to the entire pollution issue? It's an annual crisis now, and absolutely shameful how the government has taken into accountability. Thanks all very much for being with us. I'm afraid we're running out of time left, right and center. Thanks so much for watching. Good night.